the title of your podcast is a champagne strategy, and I was like, shit. I wanted to talk about mum for a sec because I always it was my tight ass strategy where when you're at Dan Murphy's and there was like 4 or 5 like tier one champagnes that like the mum, the Moe. I was just like, all right, this is always $5 cheaper, so I'll get away with it. So how to look like you're sort of gifting something of value when you're not really. And I guess that was a bit of a segue into M&A, just because sometimes it's about finding value. Really, sometimes it's not the thing that looks the prettiest that's the best. There's a lot of value when you're sort of trying to look for the right targets, and you got to be smart about it. And sometimes you just don't want to be falling for the company that sort of is, all that marketing, right? So there's mergers and acquisitions, as you mentioned earlier, and generally they revolve around corporate entities. So what I mean by that is you are buying the company in its entirety, which is the acquisition, and then in a merger you're bringing 2 companies of equal size, typically, together to form one entity. Principles that sort of surround like even acquiring something as small as a Chrome extension, right through to Slack getting bought out by Salesforce, a lot of the principles are one and the same. This thought pattern is very similar. I have to say there's absolutely not a lot that separates real estate agents with investment bankers. People who are flogging companies are the exact same kind of people who are flogging properties. So one of the big myths of M&A is that M&A is a big growth driver, but you see just as many companies spinning off things that they've recently bought just as fast as they've bought them. And a lot of the time, mergers and acquisitions don't really create a lot of value. We acquired a Southeast Asia property portal business for close to $1 billion, and I can assure you that's no longer on the balance sheet. Companies like to have a growth story around expanding internationally. I think tech companies have really changed the game in terms of acquisitions, and in a good way. They're buying capability. The best businesses usually are approached. You don't usually put the for sale sign up. I can talk about the worst of processes. So if you're an ASX 200 listed company, what you'll do is you'll wheel in some management consultants and investment bankers to pitch you a whole bunch of ideas. I can't name names, but there are quite a number of firms that are brand name that probably have caused their clients to pay ridiculous prices for assets. Look, we can talk offline about sort of who to avoid and who not to a point, but there are some pretty horrible businesses that look great on paper that generate a lot of cash, but are just on a downward trajectory. I mean, Domino's for a long time pretended to be a technology company with their autonomous robot delivering your pizzas that never showed up as well. So you can get away with a lot of things with convincing the market that you're both a tech company and some sort of infrastructure player or something like that. So the best place that you can be as an individual business is know your competitors and the customers of those competitors. That's something that only you can do and your advisor can't do. I know we've sort of been hanging shit on advisors quite a lot as well, and sort of it's a lot easier sort of as an ex-advisor to do that, but definitely a lot. There is a lot of value in a good advisor. The difference between good advice and bad advice could be a couple $100,000 or more, right? I reckon I could draw up a strategic plan for any industry if you gave me a good 3-week crack at it. Don't quote me on that one. Oh shit, I'm on a podcast. Anyway.